Hey guys, how are we doing? Very well. In today's video I'm going to talk about things that tattooed people are beyond tired of hearing. I put a comment in my Facebook group and I was like, hey guys, what are the things that you're tired of hearing about when it comes to being tattooed? Or maybe you're not tattooed but you want to get tattooed. Like, what are the things people always say to you before you either get tattooed or you want more tattoos, or about your tattoos? So everyone's involved in this process. I wanted to do it from my point of view to start off with, but I thought people would be like, oh look, here's another person bitching about having tattoos, and I mean, she's just asking for it anyway. Like, if you don't want to be bitched at about having tattoos, then why would you have them? Like, victim blaming stuff, I mean, I'm sure you guys have been through that as well. But so all of these things that I'm going to mention in this video are from people that watch my videos. They're not from me. I mean, I've experienced every single one of these as well personally, so I can relate to them, but these haven't come from me. These have, you know, my subscribers saying that this stuff is annoying, and I've heard it all before. If you guys can relate to this, or if you want to add something to this, I'd love to know what you guys are tired of hearing when it comes to your tattoos. When it comes to this kind of stuff, honestly, I don't mind talking about my tattoos. I could talk about my tattoos until I'm blue in the face, but there's a certain type of person that says most of these questions. Sometimes they are genuine, so if someone says, oh, does that tattoo hurt? Most of the time they are genuine and they just want to know, they're curious. But when you come across like negative people that are against tattoos or not sure on tattoos, they will basically be like, oh, doesn't that hurt? Like, why would you put your body through that? Like, you can tell if someone's being negative or not. So I don't mind some of these questions to me when people are being positive about it. I'm totally for it. I'm like, yes, let me talk about my tattoos, let me help you. But when people are negative and they're trying to put you down, it's just like, I'm not about that life, you know? So the first one that you guys have probably had before, and I have had it plenty of times, and that is, you're gonna regret that when you're older, or you're gonna regret that in 10 years time, 20 years time, 30 years time. And the problem with this question is, and I think why everyone gets so annoyed by this question, is who's to say what people will regret? Like, everyone is different. Just because someone's friend regretted a tattoo doesn't mean you're gonna personally regret a tattoo. I feel like everyone knows a person who has regretted a tattoo. Like, I will have an old lady come up to me and work like, oh, you'll regret that when you're older. My daughter had a tattoo when she was 20 and now she regrets it now that she's 40. Okay, cool, that's your daughter, that's not me, you know? I mean, maybe I will, but you don't have to throw something in my face like that. So even if I do regret my tattoos when I'm older, which, let's be serious, like, if you can't tell, I'm obsessed with tattoo art. I don't think it's going to be a thing. Maybe it will, who knows, but you've got to live in that moment, you know? So if someone has a tattoo, don't come up to them and say, you're going to regret that. Like, who's that helping? Tattoos are permanent. Telling someone they're going to regret something isn't going to make things better. The next one is how much a tattoo costs. Now, I've had the same reaction from many of people, and I'm sure you guys have as well, when it comes to someone asking, oh, how much was that tattoo? And most of the time they're just curious, you know, that's fine. I don't find it rude personally, but I know a few of you guys might find it rude because you won't ask people about their financial expenditures or what have you. You wouldn't necessarily go up to someone and be like, oh, how much was this? Or how much was your haircut? How much was your procedure for whatever it was? I mean, sometimes people do that, I don't know, but it's the reaction that you get when you do tell people that you got a new tattoo or how much a new tattoo is going to cost. As I've said in a previous video, good tattoos aren't cheap and cheap tattoos aren't good, so you may as well invest. So if you're going to invest in a good tattoo, it's going to be expensive. I'll use my Keely Rutherford tattoo as an example because that was probably one of the most expensive tattoos I've had of that size. I think it was £250, which to me isn't expensive for the quality that it is, especially if I look back at my cheap tattoos, like, the quality is terrible. So my Keely Rutherford tattoo, I think, was £250. And when I told people that, they were like, oh my god, that is so expensive. Do you know what you could have bought for £250? You could have got Michael Kors bag. Ugh. No, I don't want to buy designer handbags. I don't want to buy designer shoes. They're temporary in my mind. Like, tattoos are forever, you know? So I would definitely prefer, personally, obviously it's all personal preference and I'm not shading anyone, but I would personally prefer to invest my money in art, something I can carry with me forever, something in my mind that's not going to go out of fashion, because I don't believe tattoos are fashion. With handbags and designers, you know, designers become popular and then we don't ever hear of them again. Like, if we remember back in the early 2000s, Von Dutch, how many people invested in like a Von Dutch hat or a Von Dutch handbag do they use that anymore? No, like fashion comes in and out. Tattoos are forever. So I don't understand when people create such a fuss about someone spending so much money on a tattoo. Yeah, but obviously it just comes down to miseducation. Not everyone is educated in the tattoo world. They don't necessarily understand it, I guess. I'm just trying to be nice here. I don't know. The next one that a lot of us probably get, I definitely get it a lot, and that is, but tattoos hurt. Why would you put yourself through that? And it's just like, okay, sure, tattoos hurt. Sometimes tattoos hurt more on some people than others. I've always said I have a high pain tolerance, so I can kind of handle it. Like, it's not a big deal to me. Sometimes people do question like how much it hurts. Oh, well, he's drinking, just ignore that. Yeah, sometimes people question like, oh, did it hurt? Because they're curious, like they want to know for themselves. And again, I'm so okay with that. Like I said, I can talk about tattoos until I'm blue in the face, I don't mind, but it's when people are like, why would you put yourself through that? It hurts. Like, why would you do that to yourself? And it's just like, there's so many things I could say that about other people. Like, why would you do drugs? Why would you hurt yourself in that way? Do you know what I mean? But I don't do that because it's rude. So I don't get why people do that to tattooed people. It's just not, it's not cool. The next one, which is quite relative to the one that I've just spoke about, is something that I've had to me personally before. Sometimes that is curiosity again, but most of the time this one is just plain rudeness. And it's my work. I think out of everything in this list, this is the one that I hate the most. And quite a few guys have mentioned it also in my Facebook group when I put the post. And that is, why would you do that to yourself? And it's like, whoa, that is so, like, that is really rude. Like, if you step back and come out of the whole situation, like, that is so unbelievably rude. Because would you do that to anyone else with any other thing? And it's like when someone wears a really questionable outfit. You wouldn't be like, why would you do that to yourself? Because that's so rude. Like, I've never seen anyone do that to like a normal person without tattoos. I don't understand why people just come up to people like me and say, why would you do that to yourself? Like, it's just unbelievably rude. If you take it in another context that isn't tattoo related, if someone said that to you about something else, like, you wouldn't go up to someone and be like, why would you dye your hair like that? Like, why would you do that to yourself? Like, it's so rude. I don't know, I hate it so much. I just find it extremely rude. Out of everything in this list that I've got and that you guys have suggested me, I find this one the rudest. I really do. I'm just like, oh god, like, wow, what gives you the invitation to question me like that? I don't like it. The next one that has been mentioned a few times, and especially to me, I get this a lot, especially from family members, and that is, oh, I like your tattoos, but you wouldn't get it on your face, would you? Or would you tattoo your neck? Would you get it somewhere visible? It's one of those things where you just like, you feel like you have to say no. You're like, oh no, I would never do that. Oh my goodness, no. And I've caught myself doing that exact same thing. I'd be like, oh no, I would never get my neck tattooed. I would never get my face tattooed. But honestly, talking to you guys, people that get tattoos, I'm like, yeah, I would do it. But when you talk to like older people, or people that don't understand tattoos as much, you kind of feel yourself saying, no, I wouldn't do that, and I have done that, and I would put my hands up. I'm normally the kind of person that fights for what I want in life, but honestly, for an easy life nowadays, I'm like, oh yeah, I would never do that. But honestly, I would love a neck tattoo. I would really, really love a neck tattoo. Face, I'm not sure. I would probably get, if I was to get a face tattoo, I would get something small. I don't want anything too major as of yet. Never say never with me, you know me, I'm always changing my mind. Again, it's one of those things, it's just like, it's none of your business. If I want my face or neck tattooed, then I'm gonna do it. Face and neck tattoos aren't honestly that extreme anymore. I don't think they're extreme at all. Especially neck tattoos, I don't see them as extreme. I just feel like they're getting your arm tattooed nowadays or something. Face, it's still a little bit out there for some people. For me, it's just like, I've seen it now, like I've seen it plenty of times. It's nothing to me. I can understand some people do it from a nice point of view. They're just trying to be nice and they're just like, oh, I like your tattoos, I like what you're doing, but just be careful because of job prospects and stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, thank you for looking out for me, but it's my life. If I want to make that mistake or if I want to take that risk, I'm going to do it. I'm not telling you how to live your life. The next one that I've had before, and I've mentioned a lot of times on this channel, and a lot of you guys have mentioned it also, is when people ask you, where else are you tattooed? And it's just like, you're so gross. I get this from men. I've never been asked this by a female. Guys might get it asked by females, and it's a case of they're implying, oh, so do you have your butt tattooed? Do you have your vagina tattooed? Do you have your boobies tattooed? Like, where else are you tattooed? I want to know how sexy you can get, and it's just, oh, like, get me in the shower with some bleach. Seriously, it's just vile. And luckily it doesn't happen to me that often. It's normally people out on the street when I'm walking like to work or from work or what have you, and it's just like, could you be any more unoriginal if you tried? It's so gross, and I don't understand it. It's just I don't know, it's just personal space invasion. Like, I wouldn't go up to someone with a funky beard and be like, hey, what does downstairs look like? Is it like your beard? Is it nice and trimmed? Is it like, how's it looking down there? Like, how weird and disgusting and gross would that be? I don't understand why tattooed people get picked on. Why do people think it's okay? Another one that actually really stuck out to me, only one person said this on my Facebook group post, and that was, did you do that tattoo yourself? I've only had this question maybe like once or twice, but a girl called Jade commented this on the post, and she was like, how can I do that? I think she mentioned something about having a shoulder tattoo like here and it goes onto her back. There is no way someone could tattoo themselves up here with one hand. You need two hands to tattoo, ideally, because you've got to wipe away, you've got to tattoo, wipe away, tattoo and stuff like that. So like how anyone could sort of do a tattoo going on over to the back is such a stupid question. Like, honestly, like I was saying, I'm all open for people asking questions, but something like that would piss me the fuck off. I'm like, do you seriously think I can draw on my back? Like, but yeah, I've had a few questions of, do you tattoo yourself, or did you do these yourself? If someone asks me, do I tattoo, it's not a stupid question, I would say, because I am quite tattooed and it's quite unusual to see a tattooed person where I live. I mean, there's people with tattoos, but they're not, say, as tattooed as I am. I would guess there's a few, but there's not many. So when I get that question like, are you a tattoo artist, I don't mind, but the times I have been asked like, have you done that yourself, it's just like, no. I think the only place you could technically tattoo yourself is your legs, and again, I haven't tattooed my own legs. The next one is something I've had before, from quite a few people in my life that are quite close, and I've had it from people I work with. A few of you guys have also had it as well, and that is, what about when you get married? What about it? Like, honestly, what about it? What are you trying to say here? What are you trying to say, that people with tattoos can't get married? Like, what the fuck is this about? I guess they're on about like when you get married and the wedding day, what you're going to look like when you're in a wedding dress, and what does your future husband or your future wife think about it. And again, it's nobody's business. Like, what the fuck? If you Google tattooed brides, oh my god, they're so stunning. Like, honestly, I would stare at a tattooed bride over a non-tattooed bride any day. Like, I would prefer to see tattooed brides. Honestly, that's maybe because that's just what appeals to me in my life, like tattooed people. But I think they're so interesting in a world where you see plain brides in a plain white dress and their hair's all immaculate and they're all like so put together and clean. When you see a tattooed bride and they're looking like edgy and alternative, and they're wearing like maybe a maxi dress and their hair's all flowing in bright colours, and it's just such a breath of fresh air to me personally. I love it. I'm just like, oh yes, not a cookie cutter bride. Do you know what I mean? When you see all these bride magazines and they're just all pure and clean, it's just like, ugh. It's so boring to me. It, like, brides, like, no shade to anyone that is a bride that has no tattoos. Obviously, I've had friends that get married and they look beautiful. I'm not saying they don't look beautiful, but it's so refreshing to see a bit of personality, a bit of colour, because all, well, not all weddings, but most, you know, non-tattooed, non-alternative weddings just the same to me. I don't, if I was to ever get married, it's not really on my cards, I don't think. I'm just, I'm not into it. Why is it anyone's business anyway? Honestly, like, why would someone question another bride's motive? I don't think they would. Like, you wouldn't go up to like a non-tattooed bride and say, oh, I don't know if you should have those freckles. What about when you get married? Like, you would never do that. Like, that's part of someone. Like, what the fuck? Tattoos are a part of people now, you know. Like, once they're on the skin, that's it. They're there for life. So you wouldn't question a non-tattooed bride for having freckles and moles, spots, acne. Like, you just wouldn't do that. It's so rude. So I don't get why people ask about tattoos. I don't know. The next question, and obviously most of you guys have had this if you have a tattoo, or if you're even planning on having a tattoo, that is, what does that tattoo mean? And I've mentioned this recently in quite a few videos about you know, how tattoos don't have to have meaning. Don't feel like you have to have a tattoo with a meaning. But there is like this massive misconception about getting tattooed, that is that your tattoo has to have a meaning. Like, you cannot have a tattoo without a meaning, and if you get one without a meaning, you're going to regret that. You're going to regret that so hard. So make sure your tattoos have a meaning. But yeah, so this one is obviously a question that everyone gets. Most of my tattoos don't have meaning. Like, say, my traditional arm is just stuff I like. There's no meaning to it. Like perfume, I like perfume. My lipstick tattoo, I like lipstick. This one here is the Dubai Marina skyline. That is my favourite city. It's my favourite thing to ever see. So I guess that kind of has a little bit of meaning. That's probably the most meaningful tattoo I have. I have the boot from WALL-E. WALL-E is my favourite film, or one of my favourite films. I've got my tiger here, and honestly I got this here because I like traditional tiger heads. It's just an art piece for me. And then obviously my newer one up here, my pin-up pizza. No reason, I mean, I like pizza, but there's no meaning. And even if a tattoo has a meaning, like imagine this, right? So say someone has a tattoo just on their arm or wherever it's visible, I don't know, and then some strange random person comes up to them and they're like, oh, what does this tattoo mean? And if someone says, oh, I don't really want to talk about it, people get so arsey. Like, it's so arsey. Like, people feel like you have to tell them the meaning. Like, imagine if that tattoo had a very significant meaning and it's quite a personal meaning, say it's something to do with someone that has passed away, or a best friend, or a family member, or a memory or something. Imagine someone pressuring you to tell people that story. Just because it's on someone's body and it's there on show doesn't mean people have the right to know. So if you ever feel like you're pressured to tell someone the meaning behind your tattoo and it is personal to you, just say it's personal. And if someone gets arsey, just be like, you don't have the right over my body just because I'm tattooed. You don't have the right to know. Yes, it's there for you to see if you're looking at it, but you don't hide your tattoos either. Like, you shouldn't, if someone says, well, it's out there on show, be like, oh, okay, sorry, should I walk around in long sleeves when it's like 80 degrees outside? Like, people feel like they have the right to know about your life if it's out there on show. But sometimes you just don't want to talk about stuff, you know? The next one is something I've had before and some of you guys have had also, is, can you draw me a tattoo? I guess this comes back to the point that I said a minute ago about tattooing yourself, or do you tattoo yourself? Did you do these tattoos yourself? I feel like most non-tattooed, well, not most, but I feel like a lot of non-tattooed people feel like anyone with a tattoo can draw, which obviously isn't the case, especially for me. If you guys saw me try and draw, no, I cannot draw at all. I know quite a few people in my Facebook group and quite a few of you guys are very talented artists, and bless you so much. But I cannot draw. I have never designed any of my tattoos. I mean, I come up with the ideas and I sometimes put them into like Photoshop and play around with it and stuff, but I cannot draw. I may look like I can draw, but I cannot draw. It's one of those assumptions, I guess, that can get quite annoying when you get asked it quite a bit. Like, oh, can you draw me a tattoo? Can you design me something? And it's just like, no, my God, I can't. Physically, I just can't do it. The next one is something that infuriates me as well. It's up there with one of the worst ones, and that is when someone says to you, your body is a temple. And it's just like, fuck off. How many temples do you see that are just plain white walls? Honestly, where in the fucking world is there a temple that has plain white walls? There's decorations fucking everywhere. Like, there's carvings and there's paintings and there's history, what do you call those things, like symbols. I don't know, I'm not very educated. I've never seen a temple with plain white walls. Never. Never, 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 never. There's always something on the walls, okay? So this whole your body is a temple bullshit can fuck right off, because it's bullshit. The other one that has really pissed me off, and I've seen it float around Twitter for many years, is Kim Kardashian once said in an interview, I believe, that she hasn't got any tattoos because you wouldn't put a bumper sticker on a Bentley. So what are you trying to say? That, like, she's like perfection and she wouldn't want to ruin herself? Anyone that puts art on them is like tacky. The next one is another popular one that you guys have been saying about, and that is tattoos are masculine. Okay, honestly, I can understand when people say that. I can understand, because tattoos have predominantly been on males for many years, for most of the time. I guess in the past like 10, 20 years, it's been more popular for females to get tattooed. There's a lot more tattooed females. So I guess when an oldie says it, say someone that is over the age of 65, if someone over the age of 65 says, oh, tattoos are masculine, that's because in their generation that's the only people that would get tattoos is men. Not many females would be tattooed back in the days. So I can understand that side of things. Like, I can understand why that is quite a big misconception, that tattoos are quite masculine. Especially for like me, like I have quite, they're not girly tattoos on my arms. I would say they're traditional, like horror realism. They're not the girliest, but say someone had like a sleeve full of roses, or like a girly sleeve, or girly tattoos all over them, like pinks, greens, flowers, stuff like that, like cute stuff. And then someone says it's masculine, it's just like, what? There's like girly designs all over this girl, like behave, she's not masculine. I don't want to like stereotype and say, oh, only girls can have flower tattoos, by the way, but it's just an example. Don't read into it too much. But yeah, if a girl is covered in like flower tattoos, it's just like, that isn't masculine at all. And even so, like if you look at someone like Minami Frost, who is like covered in black work, she to me doesn't look masculine at all. She just doesn't. Again, it's my opinion and everyone's going to be different. Someone else might find Minami Frost to be quite masculine because of her black work tattoos, but I'm just like, no, she's fucking gorgeous. Fuck off. The other one that I definitely get a lot, like I get this a hell of a lot, and some of you guys also do, and that is, what about your boyfriend / girlfriend? I have a boyfriend, Liam. Yeah, and I get asked that so much. Like, what does your boyfriend say? Does your boyfriend have any tattoos? What does he think about this tattoo? What does he think about that tattoo? And it's just like, oh my god, why is it any of your business? It's really not. I don't mind when people are having a genuine conversation. Obviously, like people I work with ask me this question quite a bit. Don't mind, they're just being curious. Don't mind, okay? But it's when people are just so rude about it. Like, they're just so invasive. It's just like, what does your boyfriend think? Does your boyfriend have any tattoos? Oh my god, does he like you like that? That's the worst one. It's just like, oh, does he like you having tattoos? What does he think about them? Does he find you attractive? Like, that's what they're saying. They're basically questioning your relationship. Who the fuck does that? Like, you wouldn't question someone else's relationship on another thing. Like, say someone lost some weight or gained some weight, you wouldn't go up to someone and be like, oh, does your boyfriend still like you like that? Does he still think you're sexy? Does he still really want to be with you? Like, you would never do that. So why are people doing it for tattoos? I know tattoos aren't as serious, but it's still like, what gives you the invitation, honestly, to question someone else's private relationship? Oh, okay, the next one is, tattoos are just fashion, they're going to come out of fashion. What about when the tattoo that you have is going to come out of fashion? You're going to be bored then, you're going to regret it then. Oh my god, this is like really frustrating for me, because this is like quite a big one as well for me that annoys me. Tattoos to me personally, and to most of you guys, are not fashion. To me, my argument is always, how can something that is thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years old be fashion? Tattoos have been in humans, or whatever you want to call us, we're humans, right? I think. Tattoos have been in people's lives for thousands of years. Way before fashion, way before Vogue, way before, you know, fashion, blogging, vlogging, whatever. They have been around for so long. And yeah, okay, the style of them has changed, the technique of doing them has changed, but, you know, everything changes. And it's just like, no. I can understand why maybe someone would say this, because obviously you do see an increase of a certain design or a certain placement become popular. Let's go to sort of like dream catchers. They were like absolutely massive at one point. Everyone was getting dream catcher tattoos. It was all over Facebook, it was all over Instagram. And yes, okay, not many people are getting them anymore, but people are still getting them. They haven't died down completely, you're just not seeing them as much anymore because something else has just come about. So yes, I guess that counts as fashion, but it's tattoos. That tattoo is going to be on someone forever. I would say like tattoos are the genes of the fashion world. Jeans are never going to come out of fashion. They're always going to be in fashion. So I guess that's what tattoos are in the fashion world. Like, they're there forever. You're never going to get bored of them. No one's ever going to stop wearing them because, you know, jeans have been around for many years. So I guess if you were to compare tattoos to fashion, tattoos are the genes of the fashion world, I guess, if that makes sense. But that's just another. The other one that was quite an interesting point that I've never actually thought about is someone had a comment about a band tattoo. So sometimes people get band tattoos on them, whether it's like lyrics or the symbol of the band, like say Blink-182 or something. I don't listen to band music, I'm just like the worst person. But say you did get like a band symbol, someone said that they get questions like, what if you grow out of this said band or this said thing that you have tattooed on you? And the thing is, when it comes to something like that lyric or that band may have been a big part of your life, even if it's for like a year and then this band breaks up or they start doing music you don't like anymore, still that song or that band was such a big part of your life. So maybe things change, but they still were a big part of your life at some point in your life. This is what I'd say about like sort of boyfriend, girlfriend, friend tattoos or whatever. If you've been with them for like over a year and you get a matching tattoo or a tattoo to symbolise your relationship or your friendship, even if it turns sour or even if it goes bad, they were still like a big part of your life. You still had love for them, you still had good times with them. So yeah, okay, you have this tattoo, you're not friends with them anymore or whatever, but they were still a big part of your life. So it's a case of just like, okay, so I'm not friends with this person anymore, but they were a big part of my life. I had some good memories with them, you know, like, yeah, okay, so you might grow out of something, but they were a big part of someone's life. So to question something like that is just so rude again. Like, what is it any of your business? The next one and the last one is also another very infuriating thing. It's when people assume your sexual life because of your tattoos, and it's just like, whoa, 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 put the brakes on. Do us tattooed people go up to non-tattooed people and assume what they're like in their sexual private life? Abso-fucking-lutely not. I know I never have. I've never looked at someone and thought, oh, I bet you're really kinky. You don't do that. That is rude. That is extremely wrong. So why? I've actually made a video about this. I'll link it down below because it's just something that pisses me off and I will go blue in the face until I get my point across with this because it's just so annoying. Why do non-tattooed people feel like they can come up to you or shout things across like the street to you about, you know, what you do in your private life? You know, like, oh, I bet you're a kinky girl, or oh, hello sexy tattoos, hey, come and sit on my D. And I shouldn't have to explain myself to anyone when it comes to that kind of thing, because could you imagine just standing out in the street or standing at work and someone's questioning your sexual antics? So yeah, people are assuming what you're like in your personal sexual life. It's just so wrong. Just because you have tattoos does not make you a kinky person at all. I mean, maybe you are, but why is that anyone's business? Unless you want to shout it out there, it's nobody's business. Anyway, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you've got anything to add on to this, if there's anything that freaking annoys you when it comes to being tattooed, comment it down below. So yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys are all doing very well, and until my next video, bye!